Good afternoon. My name is Joe Solomon. I'm the police chief of the city of Methuen, Massachusetts, which is about 30 miles north of us here in Boston. And for us, we have a couple of different unique situations to our community. We sit in the middle of three major communities. We have approximately 50,000 residents in our city, but we sit in between three cities that have over 100,000 individuals living there. And one city next to us who has been overrun dramatically by opioids and unemployment and recession and just plain hopelessness. And we sit on the border of a state of New Hampshire, and it's made it very difficult for us with instituting a project at the beginning, because what we found was the majority of individuals that we were servicing, particularly in overdoses, were from outside of our jurisdiction, and in many cases from Maine or New Hampshire. So as we started to think about the process, how would we come about addressing those was a major issue. But before I go there, I just want to tell you a little story. So we all had our aha moments, right, about what really made a difference to us. So one day I'm driving around, I'm actually outside on the road, and a call comes for a man not breathing in a house. I recognize the address. It's a person I know. He's a little he's my age, he's overweight, he's out of shape. I figured he had a heart attack, so I went over there, my mindset to do CPR on a friend of mine, only to get in the house and find that his 21-year-old son had overdosed. He gets emotional talking about that because at that time, it was early 2012. It was before we realized we actually had an issue in the city. So that was my aha moment, but I didn't realize it. It wasn't until 2013 when we started receiving overdose call after overdose call after overdose call. So I did what all good cops do. We pulled everybody together. 5 communities around us, FBI, DEA, Drug Task Force, and what did we do? We hit the streets. We went out in the streets, we arrested dealers, we made buys, we arrested users, we pumped everybody into the courts. And we started doing that in early 2013, a huge push. And obviously as we sit down to analyze that, we all know what the outcome was. It didn't work. The overdoses continued, the process continued. So we had to sit back and decide what was it that we were actually going to do. So we had a different approach on how we tried to figure out the answer. We went to a small group in our community that was parents of users, currently addicted and some addicts in recovery. We started working with the individual group, and then what we said to them was, how do we fix it? What do we do to make a difference? Because obviously what we're doing isn't working. And realizing it was a regional approach, we actually worked with this community group to form a private nonprofit that encompasses all the Merrimack Valley, so 5 cities in the Merrimack Valley in Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire. And we still today, that was in October 2013, still today, we sit and we meet with them every single month, but we find direction from them. And the idea for us, so what we did was we did multiple different steps. And the first step which came from the group was, you need to get some buy-in, because the group told us the municipal governments and the politicians didn't believe this was a problem and nobody will help you. So working with the group, we took the direction, and similar to what we've heard today, we have to have buy-in, but before we did police buy-in, we did community buy-in. We went to the city council, we went to the mayor, we went to the school department. We tried to build some support within the community that this is necessary. And it seems like it's a small part, but if you're starting a new project, everybody in this room is on board, all our police are on board, all our fire are on board, but if we don't have the community support, and we don't have our legislative support within our individual community, we're not going to be able to do it. So we went to them, we pulled our stats together, we made presentations, and we presented to the city council and the mayor a proposal that came from our community group. You need to hire some addiction civilian clinicians. And at that point, we were able to, in 2015, go to the city council with the proposal. Here's all our stats, here's all our arrests. When you look at all our arrests, our overdoses are going up, our stats are continuing to grow. What we're doing isn't working, we have a solution. We were able, and for us, it's been step by step by step. So we're able to bring on those clinicians part-time. So we are able to get the program fully up and running in October 2015. And we heard yesterday, data collection. And I'm so glad that Haida, Chief, has that app. We're going to be sending in our MOU to join. So we started collecting the data, and as everyone's been talking about, putting it into spreadsheets and collecting the data. We collected enough data and made inroads within the community so that July of 2016, the city, when I went to city council to present 2 more part-time clinicians, the city said to me, no, we'll give you 2 full-time and we'll work on getting you additional part-time. So we're able to take our 2 part-timers and bring them on full-time. And thank you to PAARI, John, Chief. We have now joined into AmeriCorps and we'll be receiving our coach also, so the program is continuing to grow. But I think starting the program, the biggest part for us was the community buy-in. So then, of course, after we had the community buy-in, we had the agreement to have the clinicians come on board. It came to how are we going to get the buy-in from the offices, the buy-in. Now, we had it from some, but not for all. So what we did was, we set up meetings with them. We invited them to talk with current people in recovery or current addicts. We invited them to the meetings. We sat down with them, and then we figured what would be the easiest thing to get an officer to change, because you know what? We don't want to change, right? So we proposed the idea of nasal naloxone, which we went with Narcan. And the reason we proposed it to the officers for their first step into the program was to reduce the amount of work for them. So if we could reduce a death, if we save that person that you respond to that overdose for, you don't have to write reports for 3 hours. You don't have to stay at the scene. You don't have to wait for the ME. We used it as, what can we do to make the officer's life better, to help them save a life? And it was interesting. After the initial deployment of nasal Narcan, it changed the whole culture and the attitude of our police department. And I think everyone up here could probably attest to, once you get the initial buy-in, how the program changed to us. So we went from, and the important part, I think, if you're starting a program, at least it has been for us, and everybody's program has to be different. It has to fit your culture of your community. For us, it's constant. We do this every single week. What are we doing now? What should we be doing? Should we continue what we're doing, or should we change what we're doing? And simple things that came out of that was two doses. 2 milligram doses of naloxone was not enough to have in the car, so it was 4 2 doses. Now it's 4 milligram doses, plus 2 4 milligram doses in the officer's personal bag for their own safety, because we have to continue to evolve. But I think our crux and our success has been having the community buy-in, and then bringing in the police buy-in, and then continually reassessing and reassessing and reassessing. And then for us to be successful, what we did was we had to take the local, regional, collaborative approach. Not only do we need everybody in our community, but because our overdoses affect the neighboring communities, and the people overdosing in our community by far are not from our community, that our statistics show. We had to get all the communities around us to buy into the programs that we're buying into, and to work together collaboratively, not only to share information, but to help us build bigger coalitions. And successfully now, the Merrimack Valley Prevention and Substance Abuse Council has been going on for 4 years this October. Is bigger every single month that we go than it was before. And I've sat on board and board and board for 20 years. And as you get out 3 and 4 and 5 years, it's the core group of people and everybody else falls off. This group isn't staying the core group. The core group is growing, and it looks like they're going to split off and have a Southern New Hampshire bureau of their board. Because it's truly, for me, I think what's changed me was meeting with those in recovery and the parents and the family members who lost somebody. And I was also able to put the connection to someone that I knew that was lost, and bring that together, because we do need to have that drive, that passion. And I think as I've had the ability to travel around the country for multiple different police related trainings, regardless of what they're on, what they've been for, all of them, in the meeting somewhere, we come back to the opioid epidemic that's throughout, we see the whole United States, and what are we doing together? And what I find is the common thread is our passion. And I know I'm saying that because I'm preaching to the choir, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't have passion. But I wanted to give you the steps that we took, and I think the next biggest step that we took, which has made our program successful, was public outreach. And I talked about the collaborations, but very successful for us was, how do you get the word out? So we used our whole support services bureau and our whole social media bureau in order to constantly spread the information out. We created Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, just for our community engagement specialists. And just the last 2 days that we've been here, there's been hundreds of tweets and posts that we've sent out, which is gathering more of a community connection to us, because we can't continue to succeed this program if we didn't have the community support to help us go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. And I think most importantly for me, I'd like to thank my team. If I could ask my team, I have 2 of them right there in the middle. I have 2 officers, Derek Licata and Gina Scanlon, who are social media officers, who attend all our events and spread the word on prevention, interdiction, and treatment. And our community engagement specialist, Colleen Welsh, right here. Jackie, could you stand, Colleen? Jackie, right there. And Lieutenant Joseph Aiello, who runs our community outreach program. And with him is a captain, and Captain Gallant, Sergeant Moore, who are from our Support Services Bureau. And the reason I mention that, not only to thank them, because for one, I wouldn't have even been invited to be standing up here and talking to you if it wasn't for the wonderful success that this team has had, but to show you that if you are going to make a difference, you have to have a team. It can't be 1 or 2 people. This is just the team that focuses 100% of their efforts on this issue. But the team is all of us together, and without the team, then I don't think we would be successful with anything that we did. And PAARI, you've made such a difference. Allie, John, Fred, I can't say enough for what you guys have done to help save lives in my community and around the United States. And from all of us, thank you very much.